Welcome back to the Shine and Thrive Photography Podcast. I'm your host, Sarah Monica. And today I'm going to tell you about something that I have wanted for so long, but I thought it was still far fetched for me. And it's pretty much about having a personal assistant. And when I think personal assistant, I think someone who is here that can show up like in person physically and help me with all of the random things that I don't like to spend my time on, my time doing, like cleaning, cooking, running errands, those types of things, because I all I could think of when I was like spending my time either like vacuuming or doing laundry or like cooking a meal, I was like, I feel like I have to do this, and I rather be either outside in nature going for a walk, spending quality time with loved ones, or literally like growing myself and my knowledge in my business by taking a course or um, doing something new and exciting in my business that feels like I can actually impact more people in a positive way rather than cooking a meal and then the impact is obviously very useful and effective, which is like feeding my family. But it's like, well, if someone else could do that for me and we could be fed, but then I can also do something that can have a bigger ripple effect into other people's lives, like, hello, teaching people how to get their time back so they can have even more quality time with loved ones, pretty much, then I'm like, I want to do that. Like, that's what I feel pulled to. That's what I feel drawn to. But I had this in my mind that it was still too far fetched because I wasn't prepared to like give enough hours to someone like that. And so I'm going to expand on how that was an illusion in my mind and how we found literally the perfect person. And I can't wait to tell you about it. But it just goes to show how even me, as I've been outsourcing now for like over 8 years, I still have moments that I need to kind of pause and reflect and get conscious to the beliefs and thoughts that are keeping me stuck, that are part of like my old thought pattern, instead of my new thought pattern that I want to adopt to become the person I want to become. So pretty much, here's the scoop. Before, I think it was middle of August of this year, I knew that the next 2 months, so September and October, are always the quote unquote busiest for me. I don't like saying busy because I truly am not like busy to the point where my days are packed. It's just that I know my what I'm focusing on, which is finishing up the wedding season, and on top of that, prepping for launch, reopening the doors to my outsourcing made easy course. That is a huge project, and it takes a lot of effort and back end and strategy and like prepping. There's like a ton to do. So pretty much in the busiest time of wedding season, on top of that, I also have a course launch. And I was like, this year, because like last year, Rory was on pat leave. So he was able to help support during my course launch with like a lot more of the like cooking and cleaning and stuff, while taking care of Ben. And then outside of the time when I was working, we had more like family time and all of that. And of course, I did cooking and cleaning too. I'm not saying that. It's just that like last year, Rory had more time available to like support with that. But this year that he's back to full time work, and then I'm now, in this like season of the year that's like just a little more, I have more commitments going on. We're like, why don't we try on just getting support, finding someone for the next 2 months for September and October to help like focus on cooking, cleaning, running errands so that I can then just like focus on what I want to focus on, create the biggest impact I can create. And then when I'm not working and when Rory's working, it's not like we each have to like cook and clean while taking care of Ben at the same time. We can just literally have quality family time with each other, and that's it. We don't have to be distracted by, okay, Ben, like, why don't you just like sit here and like watch something, and then I'm gonna go clean, Dada's gonna go clean, Mama's gonna go make dinner, like we didn't have, and we're like, let's just try it on and see what happens. So I was very determined to do this, and it took me freaking like 2 to 3 days to find someone. And what I did is I got super specific on what I was looking for, and I created like a job posting, which is exactly the way that I teach how to create job postings, effective job postings in OMI, is what I followed. And I posted it to a local Facebook group here where we live in Georgetown. And I just said specifically, we're looking for support with these things. Like specifically, I wrote down some specific cleaning tasks, some cooking tasks, and then even saying like, even doing some business errands, like wrapping my albums for my clients and stuff like that. And I called it a personal assistant position. And I posted it, and I was like, okay, posted it. And then there are people that are like, ooh, this would be perfect for this person. Oh, by the way, I also said that we are looking for about 2 to 3 hours a day, 4 to 5 days a week during the week. So that kind of support. Um, and some people tagged some people that they thought would be interested in it. And some people wrote being like, oh, wow. So you're pretty much looking for. Oh, wait. I also said it would be a bonus if you have experience with childcare, because I also thought in my mind, what if on those days when Ben is now in Montessori school, and in the beginning, apparently kids get like really sick really often, since they're now surrounded by other kids. So I'm like, what if I'm literally like, I have podcast appointments, and then I'm literally launching and hosting a masterclass and all of those things. And then Rory, what if he has important meetings and we have to pick up Ben from school and he's sick? Then it's like, what if we had some kind of support where spontaneously we can call this person and see, hey, in case you are available, that would be amazing, to help maybe watch Ben for an hour, so while I do the podcast recording, and then I can come back to him or something. So I was thinking big. I'm like, I want it all. I want like a bundle. Like I want a package deal. I want someone who would be available for it all. And I wrote bonus if you have experience with like being a nanny or childcare. That would be just a nice bonus for us. So I write this up, and then some people wrote being like, okay, so you're looking for a personal chef, a nanny, a house cleaner, blah, 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 all in one for a quarter time hours a week, because it wasn't even a part time position. It was like 2 to 3 hours a day for 4 days a week or so. And they're like, good luck finding that. I don't think anyone would be interested. I had like 3 people comment that, and I was like, oh no, like this is again the reflection of like the the limits we can have in our minds of what's possible for us, or assuming that just because we wouldn't be interested in that kind of gig, that we assume that someone else would definitely not be interested. And I was just like, oh, I'm just not even gonna give my energy away to those people. I'll let them have their opinions. But I ended up having like five or six people email me back saying they were super excited, interested in the position. We interviewed 3. So we interviewed 3 people. One of them, her energy was a little off. She seemed very like not the happiest person. So we're like, oh, the energy is a little off. So no. And then the other 2 were like, we were super excited about them. But then Katie, she had the bonus. She literally was a nanny before. And she also even got trained at Ben's Montessori school, which he goes to now, which is amazing. And she has her master's in childcare. And right now she's just like in between things in her life. And she was just looking for a side gig for some extra cash. And she said, I just love helping people, whatever they need help with. I just love helping people. She even volunteers at like Sick Kids Hospital to play and hang out with the kids that have like cancer and stuff like that, to like lift up their mood and spirit of the day. I'm like, this is amazing. And what I teach in OMI is to hire someone who will be excited about the job. You never want to hire someone that'll be like, ugh, I guess I'll just do this for some cash. If you hire someone that is genuinely excited to just be helpful in that specific way, then they are going to like show up in a much better capacity, energy. It'll just be good vibes all around, and they'll like the retention is much longer. Like if you do want them to stick around for longer, they're in a role that they're excited about, so they'll stick around for longer too. So yeah, we ended up hiring her, and and even Rory was like, Sarah, like our priority isn't like childcare. Like we want like the cooking, cleaning, and then that'll be very, very helpful. And then if, Ben needs to be taken out of school, like we can rearrange our schedules, we can figure it out. I'm like, yes, of course, but I'm like, but it would be a bonus in case it is a tricky day to like reschedule things and move things around. Like how amazing would it be? So yeah, like we hired her, and now it's been 3 weeks so far, and she's helped us save 54 hours with housework, like literally 54 hours. And I think 5 or 6 of those hours, we chose to do like a day where, because I don't want Ben to like, Ben is like, actually he's really like outgoing and like very comfortable around like new people, and he's not like shy about that, so we know his comfort level with like new people. But I still didn't want to like, just in case, randomly he does need to be pulled out of school, and then out of nowhere he comes home and has to hang out with Katie and he doesn't know who she is. We made sure to have like schedule a day where they can like hang out and get to know each other. And so 5 or 6 hours were allocated for that in the very beginning. And so I'm like, oh, here's Katie. Like, and I hung out with them for like maybe half an hour together. And then she is like, hey, Ben, want to go to the park? And so she took him to the park, and he right away like warmed up to her, loved her. It's like there was no need to have a transition period. And she was incredible with him. And I'm like, I hit the jackpot. Like, what is happening right now? I hit the jackpot. And so it's been 3 weeks, and she's helped us save 54 hours in the house with like cooking, cleaning, and then that moment with Ben. And so far, I'll also be very transparent with the cost. So with me living in Canada, so it's in Canadian dollars. So we pay her $20 an hour for like the like personal assistant work, which is all the random cooking, cleaning, and errands and stuff. Oh, and grocery runs. She does our grocery runs. And so that came out to like $1,100 so far. And then for Ben, when she takes care of Ben, I told her, I'm like, because you have experience, like she didn't even ask for this, but I'm like, it just feels way more fair. I'm like, if you do have to take care of Ben, I feel like you're so experienced, like I can't just pay you $20 an hour. Like, let's do 25. Like, does that work for you? And she's like, well, I can't say no to that. So like, this is what I'm talking about, of like taking care of the people that take care of you, is so key. So to someone like, oh, another thing is one thing that's so cool is I get to write this off under my business. So if you hire someone as your personal assistant, it's a write off for your business. And one thing that I also asked. So at some point, I even asked her to digitize my receipts, and I was just kind of like explaining how to digitize them, and then she like set up to do it. And then I asked her, I'm like, um, are you like how are you feeling so far after like the first like 2 weeks or something? And I'm like, is there anything that you need like more from us, or are there any tasks that like you don't want to be doing? She's like, honestly, I am just happy to be helpful. And I think one thing that was very helpful that I said from the very beginning was I told her the whole reason why we need the support. And it was number one, to make sure we had quality family time in a busier time of year for us. And number two, thanks to her supporting me and Rory and Ben and our needs, I had more time to do things like this, like podcasts, create this podcast episode, reach more photographers with my message of like, working smarter instead of harder for a better quality of life. And then that will ripple into a ton of more people having a better quality of life with their families and their well-being and everything. And that I can tell whenever I talk about that with her, she feels like she's part of like a bigger purpose, and that lights her up even more. So I'm so grateful that we found her. I'm so grateful to be supported like this in this time. And another thing I wanted to mention is I realized that on wedding day weekends in the summer before hiring Katie, if let's say I photographed a wedding on a Saturday, then the Sunday was more of like a catch up day of like, okay, let's do groceries. Well, sometimes Rory would do groceries while I was shooting the wedding with Ben. Um, Sometimes Rory would do groceries with Ben while I was shooting a wedding. I wasn't shooting a wedding with Ben there. But then sometimes the Sundays would be like a catch up, like laundry, clean the house, blah, blah, blah. And then by the time the Sunday is done, we're like, well, we didn't even like go anywhere. We didn't go to like a farm or out to the park for too long, like a full long day, or to the beach. And I realized the first 3 weeks with Katie's support, when I was done shooting a wedding on a Saturday, the next day, Sunday, was a full family day with no freaking responsibilities, like outside of maybe making like a lunch or a dinner. But like we had all the groceries, the house was clean, the laundry was done. And I can't tell you, this is just like I feel like I reached a next level of freedom with this support. And I'm so excited to share this with you on the podcast, because you can find someone, like, for literally, if you write a job posting and you're like, I want someone for 6 hours a week, like there is someone out there that would love the extra $100 a week or $120 a week. And then imagine all the possibilities of like, if you get that time back, what you can trade it for, right? And so like the last handful of Sundays, we just like had so much quality family time. We went to like Chudley's, this like farm with like animals and big giant slides and like food and music, and it was just so like soul filling. I can't explain it. It's like worth every single penny. And so for those of you listening that are like, I know some of you are listening and everyone has like such different budgets, right? And so for some of you, you know, saving 54 hours in like 3 weeks and spending $1,100 is like, yeah, I'm just not there yet, right? But I want you to just focus on, I'm not there yet. And that's okay. If you desire this, then it is feasible, because I once desired this too. I mean, I've been on my outsourcing journey for years and years and years, right? So I just want you to know that if you already want something, you will figure out how to get it, and you are already on the path there. So if you don't have it right now, it's okay, but just kind of like tune into the energy of like, but you know what? If I want it, I'll figure it out and I can get there. And what if you figuring it out is starting with just getting your toes wet and maybe putting up a job posting for like 3 hours a week for like one day, 3 hours a week. So someone comes over for that one day for 3 hours, so they don't have to keep commuting back and forth 3 separate days for an hour. So it's worth their time. Even $15 an hour to start, like minimum wage, because maybe there's like someone that just is out of high school and they're happy to like cook a meal and clean the house or fold some laundry. You know what I mean? Like 15 minimum wage is totally doable for this too. And it's not unethical, and it's totally fine. So imagine if you even started with like $45 a week to get 3 hours of your time back. Imagine like what that could open up to you. So a question that I like to ask whenever I'm making these decisions is, what is it costing me not to get this support? So what it would be costing me is literally that beautiful, slow, present, quality time that I have with Rory and my son, when you're just, you know, when you're just sitting there and you're so in the moment, everything around you just like brightens, becomes more vibrant. And you know, when you have that eye contact with if you have children, like you connect with them, you're playing with them and you look them in the eye and you're just like, I'm here with you, and you giggle and you tickle, and you're not distracted by your phone, you're not distracted by the long to-do list in your mind, you're not distracted by, okay, play over here, I'm gonna go cook dinner, right? Like that is just so precious. And so what I knew that it would cost me to not get the support during this busier time, it would cost me those moments. And I want to collect as many of those moments as possible. And so I rather do that. And I'd rather invest that money to literally live my life the way I want to live it. Like, no shame in that. Like, I want to live it that way. If I have the desire, that means that like I should follow that desire, because what is good for me, what fills my cup, it overflows into my loved ones. So if I'm focused on what I want, my cup is full. My cup then gets so full. Oh, I'm seeing a crane flying, wow, outside my window. That's beautiful. So yeah, pretty much when my cup runneth over, as they say, then we can pour out into our loved ones. But if we're always empty, 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 and we can't get full, then our quality of life goes down. So another question that is useful to ask is, if I had the money, where would I look? So even 5 hours a week, let's say you get someone to help you like this in this way for 5 hours a week. Let's say it would cost you $100. So could you book an extra session and shoot it and make more money while someone cooks you dinner? Yes. Yes, you can. You can shoot it locally, like near you, or even if it's not near you. Anyway, you would know the answer to that. This is just an example, right? And what I want you to keep in mind is that successful photographers choose to buy back their time, because that is the only way you can truly sustainably grow your photography business. And when I mean sustainably, meaning you don't burn out from overwork over a handful of years and then decide to quit. I see that happening so often. People are like, this is just too much. This is not what I expected. I'm done. I'm quitting. My time with my family is more valuable. But you can have both. You can have your business as something you're passionate about and make really good money at the same time. So the year that I started outsourcing my editing, I was making $27,000 in take home income a year. And I started before I was ready. I bought my time back before I was ready. And guess what happened the following year? Because I started buying back my time, I was able to market more. I was able to have more energies, have more like more energy and well-being, pretty much. And I was able to say yes to more bookings because I knew I was supported in the editing process. And so I doubled my freaking take-home income. I doubled it in 1 year. So in 1 year, I went from like I literally ended up working less and making more in just 1 year. And so I really hope that this episode gives you a perspective shift of how possible it is to get great support relatively quickly and also find the perfect person. I have some like quick, like little screenshots that I took from my OMI students sharing in the OMI community of like, holy shit, how quickly they found their perfect person. And I know, again, I told you at the very beginning of this episode, I'm like, I was still in the illusion that it'll be hard to find the perfect person that I need support with this very random ask. Like, can you cook for us? Can you clean? Can you do all the errands? Can you grocery shop? And can you also, if we need support with Ben, like do childcare at the same time? Oh, and only work about like 10 to 15 hours a week. Like, I was like, who would want that? But oh my God, I had 6 people interested, and that was in the span of 2 days. So there's like a lot more. If I didn't even, I only put the job posting up once in the Facebook group, and then I got that interest. So imagine if I like shared it to a couple other Facebook groups that were local too. I didn't do that. I only shared it to one. Like, so there's so much interest out there, and we just have to try. Like, you won't know until you try. And what, it doesn't hurt to try. The worst that can happen is you even go through the interview process and you just change your mind and you're like, no, I don't want this, or I couldn't find the right person that felt good. Or you start off with like 2 weeks of getting 5 hours of your time back, and then you spend that, let's say $200, and you're like, no, this doesn't feel good right now. But what if you do that, and then you're like, oh my God, this feels amazing. Now I see what Sarah's talking about. Now I see how I can book an extra shoot here, make more money here. Now I can see how I can just have a better quality of life in the evenings with my kids or just with myself. I can go to yoga, I can go work out, I can go for a long walk while someone cooks for me. Oh, it's just incredible. So, here are some stories about my students, how they found their perfect person super quickly. So, Nicole wrote, Sarah, like this is her commenting in the community. I found my editor within my price range in less than 24 hours. And she has like a ton of exclamation marks. She's amazing and already sent me back the test images. More photographers definitely need to know about this because it was so easy and I'm so relieved for the upcoming season. I could cry. Thank you so much. And then here's another one from another Nicole. We have a lot of Nicoles in OMI. After the Zoom meeting with Sarah Monica on Monday, I felt so much better about outsourcing. I went through the process, did a few interviews, and found my perfect person. I just sent her an email confirming that she's hired, and I'm so excited to start this journey. And then we have, let me see, Hannah. So Hannah's like, no more student mode. I had a crazy winter and didn't complete the full course like I wanted to during that time. But weddings start in a few weeks, and I didn't want to wait another whole wedding season to start my outsourcing journey. So, my little guy and partner went to bed early last night, and I decided it was time to take action. I watched Module 1 and the VA module, and then used Sarah's template to create my job posting. I woke up this morning to 188 applications. At a quick glance, there seemed to be so many incredible options. And today I'm going through all the application using Sarah's quick method and setting up interviews with the ones that really speak to me. By tomorrow, I hope to have chosen my VA and start giving them test tasks. I knew this would be so helpful and life-changing, but I didn't know it would already feel so fun. And here is one more. So this one's from Melissa. So I just had to share a win that I'm so happy I could cry. Last year, I began outsourcing my culling, and that was a game changer in itself. But this year's goal was to find myself an editor to outsource with. I found someone and had only sent them a trial catalog to edit, and it came back nearly perfect. I just sent them a wedding, and she sent it back in 2 days, and there are less than 15 photos I need to make changes to. I am fully in shock and blown away. I'm really looking forward to this year and less stress. Oh my gosh, like, and those are just like that's just the tip of the iceberg of like the wins that Omis share in the community. And so I hope that this episode helped you really see what's possible for you. It's easier than you think. Like you're probably just making a mountain out of a molehill, just like I was with this personal assistant. And yeah, so I hope this episode just got you excited about the future you can create for yourself just from a couple new choices, new perspectives, and new action steps. So for now, I'm going to just remind you that Outsourcing Made Easy doors are going to be reopening really soon in just a couple of weeks. But this year, there's only going to be a 4-day sign up window. Last year, it was 9 days that you got to decide over 9 days, hey, do I want to invest in OMI or not? But this year, it's going to be 4 days because that's what I want. I want to have more quality time with my family. And I know that I'm going to be there for you guys in those 4 days, answering all your questions, making sure if you're on the fence, to make sure OMI is a good fit for you. So to make sure you don't miss the sign up window, there are two things you can do. So if you go to the show notes, go to the link that says OMI waitlist, click that, and then get on that waitlist so that you don't miss that short window. Or if you don't have my 3-hour post-wedding workflow yet, which I show you exactly what I outsource, when, how much time it saves me. It's a whole checklist pretty much. And this can also be applied to portrait photographers as well. It could be applied to just like a portrait workflow. Then you can get that as well in the show notes. You can click that. And then that way you'll get the workflow, but then you'll also be on my email list so that you'll hear the announcement of when the doors open. So I am really excited. I'm feeling the energy of this year being a lot of like self-discovery and people no longer wanting to settle in their lives. They want expansive, they want more, they want deep, they want quality instead of surface, and they want sustainable. And I'm just so excited for to welcome the next group in just not a handful, like 2 weeks ish. So yeah, just look over those emails. And if this episode was also helpful for you, make sure to share it with a photographer friend that desperately needs their time back. They're burnt out, they're overworked, and you're like, here, have a perspective shift, look what's possible. Yeah, so send it over to them. And that's pretty much it. I'll chat with you in the next episode. Yay! Thank you so much for hanging out with me and tuning into this episode. If you got value out of it, please feel free to message me on Instagram at Sarah Monica Photo. That's Sarah no H, Monica with a K photo, to let me know. I get so freaking energized hearing from others that what I've said has had a positive impact on their lives. Also, make sure to hit subscribe to the Shine and Thrive podcast to never miss an episode. I'm so grateful for you, and I'm sending you all the productive vibes your way so you have the best week ever.